It's time for Elko Live today. On behalf of the City of Elko, we are so pleased to feature our Elko Regional Airport Manager, Jim Foster, in studio. And Jim, thanks for being here today.
I appreciate it, Lori. This is my first solo time on here.
Oh, okay.
So,
we'll make sure that you have a smooth glide path.
That's great. I appreciate that.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you being here. Absolutely. You do so much for the community, you and your staff, and obviously we're going to talk about some exciting things on the horizon for Elko, some things that are already coming to fruition thanks to the support of the community and the Flight Alliance of Northeastern Nevada. There's a big construction project that we want to start off talking about, Jim, because this ramp redo, might be a bit inconvenient at times, but it's a multi-million-dollar investment, right?
It sure is. We began designing this ramp project about 4 years ago. And due to funding constraints that have occurred over time, we've had to put it off for a few years. And so we received our FAA Airport Improvement Program grant for it. And so we're getting ready to start off construction beginning March 31st. March 31st. And it's approximately about a 3.5 month project. We're meeting with all of our local tenants and things of that nature to limit the operational issues with our current airline. And so we actually met with them today and had those discussions. And so we're excited about this. This has been a project, although we've been designing it for a long time. This has been a project that's been in the works for multiple years, going back at least 15 years since we constructed the terminal ramp. So we're excited about that. We don't expect any operational limitations for the aircraft. Luckily for us, during the first phase of this project, we'll only have our one flight, our early morning departure, late night arrival. But as we progress into this project, our new midday flight is going to be starting on May 8th. So we've worked with our engineers and we've met with the construction company, and I'm really excited to get this project going and get it completed in a timely fashion.
Well, as you said, Jim, 15 years, it's definitely something that has to be redone. Concrete, asphalt, any work like that in Elko, there's considerable wear and tear just because of, I would think, extreme weather conditions.
Weather is a big factor when it comes to those type of surfaces. And so currently our ramp is 21 inches of concrete. And what we're going to be doing is replacing 15 inches of that with asphalt. The prices came in tremendously cheaper for using asphalt, and we'll still get the expected life out of it, 25 plus years. It'll be a nice facelift for our terminal complex as we get this thing completed. And the one thing about this is because of the granting that the FAA allows us to receive due to our entitlements, so everybody that gets on an aircraft is considered an enplanement, and that helps with our entitlement funding through the FAA. So we currently fund the FAA funds the project at 93.25%, and we come up with the rest as far as the local match. And so this $5.5 million project is only really costing us about $700,000 to get it completed.
Yeah, that's huge news and very important for the community, and something that we've been able to sustain since Glenn Guthrie was on the Elko City Council, Jim.
And and his name is still on the building.
That's right.
Out front, yep,
for good cause. We should mention, too, that the terminal ramp redo is Jim Foster's describing the work that should begin March 31st. It impacts commercial and general aviation, too? Or?
Not really going to impact the general aviation side of things. Which is a great project for us. And I really anticipate it not affecting the commercial side of things either. So it's one of those I just want to get in and get out and, have just something new for our traveling public, because they don't realize the types of stuff that we go through on a daily basis in order to get aircraft in and out. And one of the things that we deal with on a daily basis, and all the pilots out there that are listening, we call it FOD. It's foreign object debris. And those are the foreign objects that can come in contact with an aircraft, and we don't want those out on our airfield. And so this is going to, not that we're having issues on our ramp, but this is going to eliminate potential problems in the future. So let's get her taken care of now and move on with some other exciting things that we have going on out at the airport.
Oh, definitely, because people need to realize it could be something as small as a rock from spalling concrete that gets ingested into an engine. I mean, that's why you're so meticulous about this. The surfaces are so maintained, and you actually have staff that go out and look for things on the runway.
Yeah, so on a daily basis, we inspect our runways twice a day. We inspect them first thing in the morning, and then we inspect them again at night. And those are some of the things that we're looking at when we're going out to do those inspections.
Well, thanks, Jim, for the reminder. Again, Elko Regional Airport that supports general aviation as well as our commercial flights, again, expanding our opportunities with Skywest. So that does bring us to some legislation. We're on the docket. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, once again, and this is where we need the support of the community. Always asking for support. It's important to us, not only for the city of Elko, but out at the Elko Regional Airport. So one of the bills that we are supporting is it's AB 100, and Assemblyman Gurr put that into the docket. That's his bill. And what that does is it funds two differently distinct funds. One of them, it goes to the Air Service Development Commission Fund, and a portion of that goes to the Fund for Aviation. And so those are two distinct entities in all of this as well. And so the Air Service Development Fund, we really pushed for it last session, and we got the committee established. The governor was able to appoint individuals to that community or to that committee so they could start developing a grant system within the state of Nevada. The state of Nevada doesn't have a whole lot of funding available for airports. And so that was our big push. This is another one that goes back probably 8 years or so that we really started working on this. And last year they funded or they created the commission. They just didn't have any funding available for it, which is okay, because on the other side of that is the Fund for Aviation was fully funded at $2 million a year, or $2 million for the 2 years. And what that fund is I had mentioned that AIP project earlier. What that fund is for is small rural airports to request reimbursement grants from the state of Nevada for airport infrastructure projects. So, for example, and that's why I support this bill wholeheartedly, is I applied for a $350,000 reimbursement grant through the state of Nevada. And that is all attributed to the legislation efforts that we made 2 years ago to get the Fund for Aviation established. And so it's not just for Elko, it's for all rural airports or all small airports. You know, the big guys don't really need help from the state. They can kind of do whatever they want, but some of us smaller folks out here need a little bit of help every once in a while. So it's another mechanism for additional funding. I sit on one of the committees that allocates that funding, and the first year that was in effect, we allocated $950,000 of that $1 million to rural airports for fixing runways, taxiways, aprons, putting in weather systems, lighting, all those things that make an airport function. That was the first year. And this last year, just to kind of show the significance of it, there was a $1.5 million ask from all of the rural and small airports in Nevada. So it's a really helpful program, and we're hoping that we can get the support behind that in order to at least fund that. and potentially fund the Air Service Development Commission, because that's another one of those things that would help Elko as being able to apply for a grant to help offset the costs of enhancing air service into Elko or potentially bringing in a new provider into Elko.
Wow. And we want to talk more about that too, and which we're going to do in this half hour with Jim Foster, our Elko Regional Airport Manager, about these exciting things that have already been achieved or things that are clearly on the horizon and with support. So that fund for aviation, biannual, already very popular, as you just demonstrated, with nearly $2 million in asks. So lawmakers should see that clearly that's important. And then the Air Service Development Fund, as you just described, would that also enhance, I think that's what you were alluding to, the connectivity, the in-state flights that we were hoping to maybe get someday?
Yes, and this once again goes back so many years that the ultimate goal, the way that I see it, is having that connect the triangle between Elko, Reno, and Las Vegas. And one thing that the pandemic did show, what a player the Elko community is in the state of Nevada, because we were the economic driver during that time period, with Reno and Vegas really having that tourism side of things. We have that mining side of things. So that's one of the important things to me, is to create that triangle. And that's what the Air Service Development Fund and the Air Service Development Commission, that's what they're tasked with, is finding viable options. Is it a viable option, every daily service to Las Vegas on a 176-seat aircraft? Probably not. But twice a week service to Vegas, 3 or 4 times a week service to Reno. With the Air Service Development Fund available, we can look at those types of options and find an airline that's suitable for us to do those things.
Yeah, we've already proven that we know how to incentivize. I mean, Skywest stepped out and stepped up for us, and they have been doing that for decades. And we will talk about that as well when we describe more our midday flight that's returning on May 8th. So I'm just curious, have you had a chance to testify yet, either on behalf of AB 100 or the other assembly bill, which I wrote down? It is, AB 293. Yes.
Not yet. Anticipating the first hearing on April 4th for AB 100. I haven't heard too much on AB 293 yet, but that's a bill that's backed by the Nevada Aviation Association. And what that bill is going to do is create a Department of Aerospace within the state of Nevada. One of the things with our state and state aviation, we lag behind. We lag behind in funding and opportunities as compared to all of the Western states around us that have robust aviation programs in place at a state level, not the federal level, not the FAA level, but that state level. And it's not a knock on Department of Transportation by any means, but they don't fund aviation like what some of us aviation people think that it can be funded at. And so what this does is AB 293 creates that Office of Aerospace, and it involves a portion of AB 100 because that's part of the funding mechanism. This one's just going to create that office, and it'll be a new state office. I know people don't like to hear that there's going to be additional state government stuff, but it's important for Nevada to get in on some of the stuff that's happening around us, as far as the eToll. That's it's the aircraft that are hydrogen powered, battery powered, things of that nature is one of those booming industries that's occurring all around us right now. And so the Department of Aerospace would fall under the Air Service Development Commission. They would change their name. They would be the Air Service or the Aerospace Development Commission. and that would fall, and then that department would fall under there. Like I said, there's many programs. Colorado's program is an amazing program based on state fuel taxes. Same thing with the Wyoming program. They offer a lot of commercial air service to the communities in Wyoming, which is amazing for some of those communities smaller than Elko to have those types of services. So this is going to be one of those bills we're going to need. It's going to take a lot of convincing, especially with the times that we're in now, and finding the funding to make it successful. And that's what's important, is to be able to fund these two distinct things, or three if you throw in the fund for aviation, to make them sustainable. So we're not going to the legislation every 2 years and begging for money for aviation for the state of Nevada. And so that'll be one of what the Department of Aerospace will be tasked with, is to find a sustainable solution for funding. It could be as simple as the state aviation fuel tax, things of that nature. So there's a lot of options. It's an exciting time period. I've been involved in both of these things for a long time, and I'm very passionate about both of them. So I would appreciate the community support if at all possible. And there's ways, as opposed to giving letters of support, you can go to the state of Nevada website and go to the Nevada Electronic Legislation Information System, or NELIS, and you can pull these bills up and you can read them and you can decipher the information for yourself if it's something that you would be willing to support. And there's a little button on the top right-hand part of that screen where you can click on that and provide your comments, and all of those little types of things like that help, especially with new initiatives. But we're really hopeful that the AB 100 section of it, at least the fund for aviation, gets allocated money again.
Talking about AB 100, AB 293 with our Elko Regional Airport Manager, Jim Foster. Go to that state of Nevada, the Nellis website, as he just described. Those unique comments do make a significant difference.
It really does, and it helps. It helps the legislators as well, because they see those things, and voicing our concern. I mean, that's what democracy is all about, is getting our opinions out there and trying to be heard in those things. So every little bit helps. I know I'm working with Jan Baum right now, and we're putting together 2 letters of support for both of those initiatives. And so you'll probably see those on the upcoming city council meeting as well, to get that support for something that is unfortunately has not been an important thing for the state of Nevada over the course of time.
And I think it's just, as you are talking about this right now, Jim, it's just creating awareness, because I was thinking, as you were talking about an aerospace services development, a separate division within the state, that's about the future, because all of these things that we're talking about in scaling back the federal government, well, if you're scaling back the U.S. Postal Service, well, then how do people get their goods delivered, or their mail? Well, we have drones, and we hear that, but we don't have anything to facilitate drones right now. Drone delivery. We don't have something to facilitate air taxis, for example, Jim.
And that's one of the big that we'll all see within the next 5 to 10 years, is the push for that type of an industry, of that small air taxi. It could be a 4-person drone, basically, but it's coming, and I really do feel that Nevada's kind of behind on the ball on that one, but we have an opportunity to progress. And so when those types of industries become available, because they'll hit the rural markets first, guaranteed.
There's the least risk, frankly.
And the distance that they have to travel from those is going to be relatively small. One of the problems or the issues that you look at is Elko. We're 200 miles away from anything. And so how does a system of air taxis that let's say that are battery powered, how do we get from here to Reno with that type of a system? And so that's the important part of having an aeronautical division of the state to address those issues.
No airport left behind. Think about it this way, because if you're flying between, even between West Wendover, Jackpot, Ely, Winnemucca, all of these, and we have airports in all of these locations, they all need to be considered as part of this future industry, the connectivity, the places where you fuel, and you can get service and support.
And that's the important part of the Fund for Aviation, is because that's how we're going to put in that infrastructure. That's how we're going to recharge those types of aircraft. That's how we're going to get that industry into the rural markets to make it make sense for us.
So before I forget this, Jim, where does Nevada's share or local share of aviation fuel taxes go now, right? Because we do pay fuel taxes.
So fuel taxes, yes, they are collected locally, they're sent to the state, and then they're reallocated to the airports. So the fuel tax that we basically have in Elko, we get that back. I think it's quarterly is when they send those out, but ours is minimal compared to what a Vegas does.
Oh, I'm sure.
Or a Reno.
Yeah.
And so other aeronautical departments have used that type of a model before. I'm not saying that's what the state of Nevada eventually will do, but there are things for us to go off of to do this and do it right is the important part, is to get it right the first time. So, unfortunately, if AB 293 doesn't pass this year, we're going to have a really good case in 2 more years to go back and to really refine this. I attribute like AB 100 to the same thing. We started this process. Curtis Calder was the city manager way back in the day. This started with my predecessor, Mark Gibbs, about the Fund for Aviation. And that you can really attribute that to Trent Moyers when he was the airport director here 15 years ago.
Yeah, you're going way back.
And so it's an important an important item, not only for our community and our airport, but all of the small rural airports benefit from it.
Well, an exciting topic, and one that we could certainly spend a lot more time on, Jim, so I know we'll have you back because these are works in progress. We'll check in with our local lawmaker, Bert Gurr, because I know he's very familiar with both these assembly bills. We're going to end with a really fun topic, but I also want to roll in before that, the return to these midday Skywest flights beginning May 8th, because again, this is an example of everything you've just been talking about, how community engagement made a huge difference in this, how, yes, we are getting funding. We had the confidence. People saw that and said, yeah, we need to give this community a grant so that we can continue. And people don't like, just like you said, they don't like hearing the word subsidy, but it's necessary in order to provide services sometimes. And Elko City taxpayers have been footing the bill, and now we have some incredible partners going forward in this effort.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, once again, we've been working on things for so long, it seems like. But the important part of bringing back our midday flight, it gets us back to where we were in 2019, which is a great thing. It provides that additional connections into Salt Lake City for travel, for leisure, for business. What we've done is we applied for the Small Community Air Service Development Grant, and that was a community-based effort in order to do that. We used FAN, the Flight Alliance of Northeastern Nevada, for that to help in that application process, which is that public-private partnership that's been created to help offset some of these issues that we deal with funding once again. So we've been awarded that grant. We have not received the grant offer yet, which is once again, it doesn't surprise me with the state of things that are going on. But our local community partner, Skywest Airlines, they are so confident, not only that we're going to get that grant, but they're confident in our community as well. And they took the initiative and said, yeah, we're ready to roll with this. And so as of 2 weeks ago, I think is when we said something about it. Yeah, they're starting May 8th once again. And it's going to be a reduced schedule, because when we do get that grant that's going to be coming to us, we don't want to spend all of our money right away. So it's going to be that Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday schedule. Arrives about 11:15 and departs at 12:10. So it's just I'm happy to bring that back, and especially for the community and providing some of those needs as we work into the future with our community partners, and that's important for us.
And it doesn't replace the flights. I mean, this is in addition to.
In addition to, yes.
Yes.
We still have our early morning departure, our late night arrival, but now we have that midday turnaround, basically.
All right. And go to flyelkonevada.com. I just went to that website, before we came on the air, Jim, and it's ready to go. It looks great.
Yeah, that's another thing we've been working on
Yeah.
over time. But yeah, you can go to our website. That'll lead you directly to a link to book your flights. And, unfortunately, if you don't go there, you can go to delta.com.
Yes.
Or unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess. So
Several ways to book a flight.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it is doable. Sit down and do the math. Think about your time. Think about the gas you spend. Think about the motel that you often have to get. And when you can just be with your friends, family, vacationing, doing the business you need to do, and then turning around that much more quickly than having to worry about this unpredictable weather that we have in Nevada. I mean, there are so many reasons to fly elkonevada.com. Try to make that connecting flight, because all that's going to do is, it's like money in the bank. It helps us in the future.
It helps us in the future with our AIP, our Airport Improvement Program funding. That's what the important part of having commercial air service is gives us those funding opportunities to expand, to increase our safety at the airport, and those different types of things.
Right. So rather than get offended, go on social media and say, yeah, but it's $100 more or $200 more. Think about the investment that you're making in the community. It's a vote of confidence every time you can fly elkonevada.com. We have a beautiful Elko Regional Airport and terminal there, and it was the vision of many people before, and it's our responsibility to maintain that going forward. So we want to close again on this really cool thing that is also coming together, and that is the return of Sky Fair 2025, Jim.
So yeah, there was a group of individuals that came together and said, hey, we want to bring this back. And I 100% support that. And they're going gangbusters right now with it. They get inundated with phone calls on something as simple as having vendors and things like that. So we're still planning it. We're going to host it at the Elko Regional Airport on September 13th. And it's going to be free to the public. They're not charging anything to come out. It's going to be an all-day thing. I think it's probably been 12 to 13 years, if not longer, since we've done a Sky Fair. And so I think it's just going to be a tremendous hit. It's going to give us, our community, another opportunity to do something and explore our airport. In a sense, we've been kind of off on our own little island, and people know we're there, but they haven't ever been there. And so this is going to give that opportunity. And one of the things I like about it is getting the school-age children out to the airport and getting them interested in aviation for their futures. There's a lot of industries and there's a lot of great jobs that are available in the aviation sector. And so if we can just get that spark lit in one child, we've done good.
And that really is Sky Fair, September 13th, 2025. One of the main incentives, again, is to get people back out on the general aviation side of the airport. In the past, there have been static displays. There were skydivers that came in from Salt Lake City. Of course, I'm sure we'll have food. The Civil Air Patrol was there before. Experimental aircraft. Also, they love to fly in for this kind of thing. And we had a group, I remember, Young Eagles, just what you're describing, and they encourage young aviators.
And yeah, the Young Eagle program, that's what they do. They get the youngsters out into aircrafts and they fly them around to get them interested in that. I'm not sure if we're going to have a Young Eagles program this time. We've done them in the past. But we will have those static display aircraft that'll be there. I know that they're really working hard on getting some of the military stuff established again. And,
nice.
And there's always a process with bringing in, especially military entities. It takes a little bit of time, but I really am excited about this, bringing Skyfair back for the community.
Oh, I'm so glad you are, Jim. Jim Foster, our Elko Regional Airport Manager, because we all take pride in what we do, whether it's in service to the city of Elko or the county, certainly, whether you're a radio broadcaster, any number of professions. It's great to be able to share your passion and enthusiasm for what you do with the community. One group I talked to yesterday, they were on the radio, Ruby Mountain Voices, Valerie and Rick, and they said, oh, and we have a hangar and we're going to be singing patriotic music. So our new choral music group, they've already got the selections picked out.
Like I said, we have a really great group that is building this from nothing. And they're bringing it back, and it's going to be a great event. That was actually, I hadn't heard that before. You had mentioned that, Lori, and so that's great to see the community involvement from groups like that to come out to this event. It's great.
Yeah, they're so excited. And one more thing, I want to plug the Kingdom Grub restaurant. Plenty of free parking. People sometimes think, oh, but I'd have to pay to park at the airport. No, there's all that free parking. The Kingdom Grub is just a sweet family-run restaurant. They have amazing specials. They pile those hamburgers so high.
Yeah, they've been voted. There's a reason they've been voted the best hamburger in Elko.
Yeah, so, definitely.
Yeah, it's great having them out there. I appreciate you talking about the free parking. We wouldn't charge you to come out and eat at our restaurant at the airport. And so we actually they hosted the breakfast before hours.
Oh, yes, business before hours.
Business before hours
yes.
chamber last week. And that was one of the things that I wanted to get out to everybody is we have 2 hour free parking. And if you're going to be longer than 2 hours and you're at our restaurant and we're going to let you out of the parking lot. We're not going to charge you for parking.
Yeah, definitely.
So Kingdom Grub has been a great addition to the airport.
Yeah, so do patronize Kingdom Grub. I was just looking here to see if I had any other. No, it's our airport. We should have a lot of pride in it. I wanted to also mention that there's beautiful artwork. There are some exhibits inside. Certainly, there are car rental agencies that you can find right there at the Elko Regional Airport. And things will only continue to grow as long as we support the Elko Regional Airport. But do visit, and if you ever get a chance to visit that sculpture, Jim, at night, oh my gosh, wow, there's just something powerful about that. It's all lit up. You did a beautiful job with that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That was important to all of us during that time period. And for example, right now we have it lit up in green, and we changed the lighting for all different holidays. And we do have one of the booths, the Elko booths, that is located inside of in the terminal building. So as you go around town looking for those boots, you can come out to the airport and see the one that was donated by Canyon Construction. And it tells the story of our airmail route. We have one of the oldest airports in Nevada, in the history of Nevada. We were created in 1917. And so we've been around for a long time. And so as Lori mentioned, we have other businesses. We have Avis and Enterprise Truck for all your rental car and truck needs.
Nice. And I would like to remember, too, just because we're getting ready to sign off, in March, I think, is National Women's History Month, Amelia Earhart landed at the Elko Regional Airport.
There are some pictures in the terminal. We have once again, the historic side of our facility is we've played a role in aviation, not only in Elko and Nevada, but in the nation and in the world. And so we do have some pictures of Amelia out at our facility when she was able to stop in. And that's part of that history of what the airport is. And so that's another reason to come out. It's not just coming out. Yeah, come out and get a great burger, but we do have a history of things. And one of the things that we just put out is we were donated the little pewter aircrafts of the World War II planes.
Really?
And so we have them on a little display over by the baggage claim area.
Nice.
And those were donated by a local couple that just wanted to share them. And so we have them in a display case. So we were a big part of that World War II era as well. So there's a lot of the history that you can see inside the terminal building and learn some of that history.
I take a lot of pride. Again, this is our community. This is our airport. And Jim, thank you so much. Our Elko Regional Airport Manager is Jim Foster. Jim, you'll just have to come back because there's so much cool stuff to talk about.
I believe I'm scheduled to come back in a few months with you. And
Good.
So
Anytime.
I'll have some more updates on construction and some of the different initiatives that we are currently working on that aren't public yet. So
okay.
Exciting.
Oh, it always gets me going. Not public yet. Okay, we'll keep working on that. In the meantime, please reach out to local lawmaker, Assembly Member Bert Gurr about bills AB 100 and AB 293. And thank you, listeners, for joining us for today's Elko Live on KELK.